It is time for the final episode of this series. We got the second basemen. If you're new here and end up enjoying today's content, make sure you hit that like button and red subscribe button. Also, don't forget to follow me on all social medias at BladeMiss and keep an eye out on the community tab because there I allow you guys to go ahead and vote on what videos you want to see next. So Gleyber Torres is who we're going to start it off with, the lowest overall second baseman out of the 5 presented. His K percentage was a 21.4, which was actually below the league average, so he has a 60 vision, and then his walk percentage was a 7.9. That was also below the league average, but that's not a good thing, so he has 63 discipline. Looking at his 3-year averages versus left-handers, he hit 271, he has 75 contact. That's alright. I say that's accurate. And then we look at his slugging, 558 against left-handers. I think his power versus left should definitely be mid-90s, if not low 90s. Now looking against right-handers, he hit 277. His contact versus right is a 74. It should be higher than his contact versus left. So I'd give him 76 contact versus right and then 74 contact versus left. And then he's slugging 494, which is substantially lower than his slugging versus left. So his power versus right should probably be an 80, and then his power versus left should be a 93. So it takes away the 5 points that you go ahead and subtract from the power versus right, and you add it on to the power versus left. Does Gleyber Torres have an opportunity of going diamond? It just depends on his fielding. If he is fielding like one of the top second basemen in the game, then yes, he 100% has a chance of going diamond. Next up on the list is another intriguing young star. Well, he's not exactly young. He's 27 years old, but he's young on the scene, so you can say that at least. So, Jeff McNeil, his K percentage last year was 13.2. That was amazing. He has 85 vision. That's correct. 48 discipline with a 6.2 walk percentage. That's also correct. Looking at his numbers against left-handers, he hit 303 the previous 3 years, having 86 contact versus left. That makes sense. And then he slugged 455, having 47 power versus left. I think he should have at least a 50, but it makes sense as well. Now versus right-handers, he's hitting 328, 94 in terms of contact versus right. 100% makes sense. Slugging 534, having 67 power versus right. That doesn't make sense. He should definitely have it at least at mid 80s, if not high 80s. So does Jeff McNeil have an opportunity of going diamond as well? Yes, 100%. He's a utility guy and his fielding is actually not bad at all. So I do believe that throughout this season they'll probably give some points to his arm strength. And if he's hitting lefties well, then they'll upgrade his power versus left. And if he's slugging against right-handers too, they'll upgrade his power versus right. But if you had to tell me, pick between Gleyber and Jeff McNeil, that's a hard decision first off. But I say I 100% would pick Jeff McNeil before Gleyber Torres because it's a lot easier to increase his power versus left and power versus right than it is to increase Gleyber's fielding. Next up is going to be Ozzy Albies. Now, Ozzy Albies, he's a very interesting case in my opinion because he's someone that you expected to make the jump to diamond, but he just has not progressed in terms of overall skill. He more or less or so has just stabilized, I want to say. So his K percentage 16% last year, 77 vision makes sense. His walk percentage 7.7, 54 discipline also makes sense. Versus left-handers in the previous 3 years, he's been hitting 355, so 109 contact versus left, 100% makes sense. He's been slugging 596, so should he have 73 power versus left? No way in the world. He should have along the lines of 90 plus, 100% power versus left. That's probably what's keeping him from jumping to a diamond, to be completely honest. But versus right-handers, he's hitting 253, 61 contact versus right. It's understandable. Probably should be a 58, but it's understandable. And then we look at his slugging versus right-handers, 430, 52 power versus right. That's also understandable. Should probably be a 48, to be honest. But definitely understandable. So if you take away, let's say, 4 points from his power versus right, and you take away 3 points from his contact versus right, at the 7 to his power versus left, he'll have 109.80 splits. Still should be 109.94, let's say, splits, and that probably wouldn't take him to a diamond, but it'd get him pretty close. Now, if, of course, his fielding improves, but most importantly, his numbers against right-handers improve, he will have a chance to go diamond, but he needs to drastically make a change when it comes to him hitting for average and power versus right-handed pitching, which I do believe is possible. So does he have a chance to go diamond? Yes, but out of the three that I just mentioned, I still have Jeff McNeil as the highest candidate. DJ LeMahieu is up next. Now, DJ LeMahieu, I was actually surprised to see that he didn't start off the game as a diamond, but then I'm looking at his stats and I'm saying, well, in a way, it does make sense. So let's look at his K percentage. He had a 13.7 K percentage last year. 84 vision makes sense. And then we look at his walk percentage, 7%, 58 discipline makes sense. The previous 3 years, in terms of his average versus left-handers, he's been hitting 355, just like Ozzy Albies, so 109 contact makes sense. And then he's been slugging 570, 69 power versus left doesn't make sense. It should be high 80s, in my opinion. Now, looking against right-handers, he's been hitting 287, 80 contact versus right makes sense, but he's been slugging an underwhelming 407. So 51 power versus right is them being generous. He should probably have like a 43 power versus right or a 42 power versus right. So in general, you would have to decrease his power versus right and just upgrade his power versus left. And by doing that, I believe that he still stays as an 84 overall. Now, does he have the possibility of going diamond out of the previous three, now including DJ LeMahieu? DJ LeMahieu has the highest possibility of going diamond, and I'll tell you why. Since his slugging in terms of 3-year averages has been so low versus right-handers at 407, all he needs to do this year is hit, let's say on average, 450 in terms of slugging versus right-handers, which last year he hit, I believe, 490. So if he just hits 450, he's still increasing that 3-year average, which will therefore bump him up back to a diamond that he deserves to be. Plus, he's playing in Yankee Stadium. It should be a lot easier to hit for power there, especially against right-handers when you can just go Oppo Taco. Last but definitely not least, we got Ozzy Altuve. Ozzy Altuve last year had a 15% K ratio, which equals to an 83 vision. That makes sense. Walk percentage was a 7.5. All of these second basemen were below the league average in terms of walks, so the discipline also makes sense. Versus left-handers, he's been hitting 321. 95 contact versus left makes sense. He's been slugging 543, 75 power versus left. That's a little underwhelming. Should be middle 80s. And then we look at his numbers against right-handers. 322 batting average. That's actually 1 point higher than versus left. So he should probably have 96 to 95 contact versus right. And then 508 slugging against right-handers should be a 75, if not middle 70s, it's low 70s, so maybe a 71 or a 70 overall. His car should be a little bit more juiced up than what you're currently seeing, and he should be like an 86 to an 87 overall. I think it's going to be interesting, of course, to see how he performs with all the pressure on him and all the hatred on him as well. But I do believe that Ozzy Altuve, since he did have the lowest bang ratio out of any of the starters, I think he's going to be 100% fine. He can hit with the trash can, he can hit without the trash can. I'm not worried about Ozzy Altuve, but if you're wondering, does he deserve to be a diamond? Yes, 100% he deserves to be a diamond, because even though, yes, they cheated, and this is coming from a Dodgers fan, Ozzy Altuve is arguably one of the best pure hitters in the game, along with Justin Turner, Mike Trout, and there was one other player that I forgot to mention, or that I reviewed, but I just can't remember. I think JD Martinez is also one of them, but I just can't remember all of them. But anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed today's content. If you did, make sure you hit that like button or subscribe button. Don't forget to follow me on all social medias at BladeMist, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.